Back to the daily grind. The channel's getting false flagged by triggered trolls, so make sure you subscribe to the new channel. Let's get to the MMA news. The Dragon is back. Lyoto Machida is returning from his suspension for PEDs. His last fight was in June of 2015, so a little over 2 years ago was his last fight. He was on a 2-fight losing streak. His last fight was to Yoel Romero. He lost to KO via elbows in the 3rd round. Before that, he lost to submission to Luke Rockhold, and that was in the same year, in April of 2015. He's 3-4 in his last he's lost 3 out of his last 4 fights. His only win came over CB Dalloway, but his only losses came to top contenders, kind of like Chris Weidman. The only people Lyoto Machida has lost to in his last 4 fights are Chris Weidman, Luke Rockhold, and Yoel Romero, all top contenders. But with that being said, he's facing Derrick Brunson. Derrick Brunson recently, not too long ago, was on a 6-fight, 6 first-round KO finishing spree. He fought against Robert Whittaker, the current interim champion, and Robert Whittaker ended his spree, but it's because Derrick Brunson got greedy. He was trying to go for history. He was trying to go for 7 first-round finishes in a row. So he just rushed Robert Whittaker, and can't do that versus Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker has proven himself, after the fact, to be a champion. Robert Whittaker is the current interim champion. He's went on to beat more top 5 contenders after Derrick Brunson. So Robert Whittaker was able to put a stop to Derrick Brunson's winning streak, but still, since then Derrick Brunson's went on to he's fighting smarter. He did take a loss to Anderson Silva, but a lot of people had Derrick Brunson winning that fight. I mean, he's fighting smarter now. He's not rushing in, but at the same time, you gotta still find a way to when you're going against a legend like Silva, who needed the win, you gotta find a way to really push it and get that win versus Anderson Silva, because or try and get the finish. Maybe versus, I don't know, Anderson Silva's a counter striker, so you can't really just rush into him like you did Robert Whittaker either. So I mean, he thought he did what he needed to do to win the fight, but he didn't. But still, he's in my mind, he showed improvement. He didn't rush in. He showed he was going to be smarter with his fights. He wasn't just rushing the first-round KO. So if he sticks with that plan against Lyoto Machida hasn't fought in 2 years. He's coming off of a PED suspension. So with USADA in the picture, you have to imagine without PEDs, I mean, they're called performance-enhancing drugs. So if your performance is not enhanced, that means it's going to be decreased, which means you're going to be a worse fighter than before, and you got ring rust, and you're coming off of a knockout loss, and you're going against a young, definitely top 10 contender. Could be in the top 5 if he gets a couple wins. Derrick Brunson could very easily be in the top 5. I mean, this is a good fight, but it's gonna be a tough challenge for Lyoto Machida. It's gonna be good to see him back, but man, we're gonna know a lot from this fight. If he can beat Derrick Brunson, he's right back in the mix. But if he loses to Derrick Brunson, it might be time for Bellator. Go over to Bellator, fight Chael Sonnen and shit. He's 39 years old, so I mean, Bellator would be a good place for him. He could have some super fights over there and stuff, some nostalgic super fights like Chael Sonnen and people like that. Rampage, well, Rampage is supposed to be coming. It's weird. I don't even know if Rampage is going to be fighting again. He's supposed to be coming back to the UFC because he's under contract. It's all weird. So that's another topic for another day. But so Lyoto Machida versus Derrick Brunson, it's scheduled to be for Sao Paulo, the main event in Brazil. And we also had Kelvin Gastelum versus Anderson Silva announced for that card. Whoo, that's going to be a big card for Brazil. Anderson Silva, Lyoto Machida. Derrick Brunson was already scheduled to fight Anderson Silva, or he did fight Anderson Silva. He lost to Anderson Silva. So they've got history. Anderson Silva, Lyoto Machida. I mean, they've got they got the Brazilian history there. So man, this is going to be a big card. Definitely looking forward to it. And it's a free Fox Sports 1 card. So I mean, the UFC definitely, they're stacking this card. I'm looking forward to it. It is what it is. Let the hitters know what the fuck you think about Lyoto Machida's return versus Derrick Brunson in the comments, dude. What do you call a lesbian with fat fingers? Well hung.